Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Doud here with a pair of top stories for you today. One neat and the other, Actually, fun fact, Tristan and I debated the merits of both of these stories being our top story of the day. I had one, he had the other. Ultimately, Tristan decided that they were both pretty big, so here we are. But before we get into it, programming note. You'll get yourself a Digit Daily tomorrow, you'll get yourself a Digit Daily on Monday, and you'll get a Digit Monthly at the end of the year. And then we'll be back at it January 2nd. Between holidays and traveling, we could either muscle through it all, or drop in stories here and there. And since muscle through it and happy holidays don't generally belong in the same paragraph, we're going to take some time, let you take some time to enjoy the holidays before we all get back to work. So with that, it is December 19th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. First up, we have some leaked images of a Samsung folding phone. No, not that folding phone, another one. This folding phone is similar to the GIF shown off at the Samsung Developer Conference earlier this year. It's a clamshell vertical folder, much like the Moto RAZR. These images come from Weibo, so, grain of salt. The phone has a punch hole camera for some damn reason, and a dual camera setup on the outside. Personally, I like Moto's implementation better here. Just have a screen on the outside and use the main shooters, but whatever, Samsung, you do you. It appears that there is a screen on the outside, but it's tiny and looks like it's dedicated to just housing a clock and maybe some notification badges. It's not as functional on the one on the RAZR, which is not to say that the outside screen on the RAZR is functional. It really sets a low bar, but somehow Samsung's phone still manages to come under it. Well done? Since these are leaked images, we really don't know much else about the phone. Price, does it fold flat, specifications, how far along into production is it? What we do know is that this phone exists, which is exciting in and of itself. It remains to be seen when this will actually hit store shelves. Of course, there is something on store shelves right now, and it's probably something you should not buy. You might consider it piling on, but Motherboard tested the security of Ring devices and came to the conclusion that it's pretty awful. And the main problem seems to be that if someone gets logged into your Ring dashboard, Ring's like, oh, hey, cool, you seem to be the right person, come on in. And once in, a hacker can monitor cameras live, talk through them, and even access saved recordings. Now, a service like Gmail can notify you if it detects a new login from somewhere. The Verge writes about this, saying, quote, their reporters found that Ring has failed to put in place some basic security measures that could protect users' privacy. I mean, if I log into Gmail from a new browser, I get a text message and 2 slightly panicked emails. Motherboard found that Ring doesn't even do that much. And there are other problems here, but the main problem is that Ring doesn't even do the basic stuff to make sure that the person logging into the dashboard is actually the right person. Ring does offer 2-factor authentication, so if you have a Ring device, turn that on right the hell now. But beyond that, be careful. This is a camera in your home that we're talking about. Now, personally, I have a Nest doorbell, and I love the thing. And even if my Nest account is compromised, like someone actually steals my phone and manages to get past the 2-factor authentication, the worst that they'll be able to do is see outside my front door. You know what's another way to see outside my front door? Sit in a car by my house. Personally, I'm not worried about that. But putting cameras inside your house, that is an entirely different conversation, and one that I am not currently having right now. Whatever the case, there's a ton of information reported by Motherboard, so hit up the link in the show notes and read all about it. And in the meantime, it's time for the Roundup! So let's start with the movies, because it's almost Christmas and I still haven't seen Mr. Rogers and... Sorry. Star Wars comes out tomorrow, but it's already out there in places overseas, and the Hollywood premiere happened last night, so reviews are all over the place. And from what I've read in the reviews, the movie is all over the place too. From what I gather, the movie is the endgame of the Star Wars universe, which is to say it's a confused plot written solely to give fans the circle jerk they've all been clamoring for 40 years. And that's fine. I don't really have a problem with that. Let's not forget that 2/3 of these last 3 movies were written by the guy behind Lost, and the other one still hasn't stopped explaining why he lifted his kilt at an entire fandom Braveheart style. So the bottom line here appears to be, if you're a rabid fanboy, you'll love the movie. If you're a sophisticated cinemacist, which I'm not even sure is a word, but whatever, then you can watch The Irishman on Netflix and stay away from theaters for the next 2 weeks or so. And by the way, personal opinion, Mr. Scorsese, The Irishman is boring and about an hour too long. There, I said it. And speaking of too long, the movie adaptation of Cats, which features Taylor Swift, is out on Friday with a runtime of about 2 hours, which most critics seem to agree is about an hour and 56 minutes too long. Moving on to AI, Robert Downey Jr. spent the last 10 years playing Tony Stark, who is all about that tech. So naturally, when YouTube wanted to make an 8-part series about AI, they tapped Stark, Downey Jr., RDJ, to have a go. And as it turns out, Tony Stark, RDJ, does a good job talking about AI, and Gadget has a review. The first episode is out now, and a new episode will drop every week on YouTube. I suggest you give it a look. I've definitely added it to my queue. And if you're interested in learning even more about AI, Finland launched a free AI crash course for its citizens to understand what this AI is all about. Now they've opened up that course to the rest of the world. It's a 6-week online free course, so if you have a little extra time, definitely give it a look. I don't have any extra time, and I'm sure AI is mostly Greek to me, or Finnish as it were, but if this was meant to give the average citizen an awareness of the tech, it might just be accessible enough for the layperson. And finally, in 1986, a man named Cliff Stoll was working at Berkeley National Labs. His boss asked him to run down a 75-cent accounting discrepancy in the lab's computer network. What followed is a roller coaster of a story where Cliff actively hunted down and identified the first state-sponsored hack known to man. It turns out German hackers were working for the KGB. From there, Cliff wrote a book about how he did it, and that book has sold over 1 million copies and inspired thousands of cybersecurity researchers since. So Cliff must be some hacker cybersecurity bigwig, right? Nope. Cliff is a glassblower. Well, a former glassblower who now sells glass-blown Klein bottles, which, after reading his adorable website, I honestly still have no idea what a Klein bottle is, but I kind of want one. And it looks really neat, and Cliff has found his passion, and that's delightful. And also a run-on sentence. So that's going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter at digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about digitdailypod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Doud, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.